Okay, so, hi. This is really nerve-wracking.
It's just us.
I know, but I'm terrified of public speaking.
No, take a deep breath. You know what your topic is? Tell us what your topic is. You'll be
It's gonna
fine.
Like 30 seconds long.
You'll be fine.
Okay, so 67% of households in the United States play video games, and they've really kind of garnered a bad rap for, I don't know, like making you stupid, for lack of better words, and antisocial. But I personally believe that they are kind of advantageous when it comes to human development. That there's like bunches of reasons, but they can improve cognition, which is knowledge or perception. They provide for positive emotions and like motivation, and they can promote socialization with teamwork and stuff like that. I'm like sweating. So, firstly, they can improve cognition in several ways. Oh my God, nowhere to go. A couple of people by the last names of Green and Bravalier did a study on cognition in video games that said that it was able to reduce the attention span blink, which is like a bottleneck for dynamics and attentional allocation. So it's how you spend your attention span. And it's that some of the video game players were, like the expert ones mainly, didn't even have a blink. And using multiple objective tracking tasks, which is, I don't know if you guys have ever done that thing with the eye doctors where they like make you track a little dot, but it's that, and the video game players were successfully able to track the dot at faster paces, which the skill requires like being able to efficiently use your allocation of that. Anyway, they also can repress irrelevant streams of information and only take in what they think is necessary. This is good because it allows them to better focus on the task at hand than what's distracting, like people in their phones, how they can't focus on you talking. Secondly, video games can provide for positive emotions and motivation because, I don't know, I'm pretty sure everybody's played at least one video game where you have a leveling system, and once you level, it kind of makes you feel good about yourself. So then you're more motivated to keep leveling, and that can be like, I don't know, used in like other things in life where you recognize that you did a positive thing and then you're happy, so you want to keep doing it. And thirdly, they can promote socialization and teamwork through like online games and multiplayer games, and that's pretty obvious because you have to work together to complete the quest or whatever. And like there was a study by, let's see, Snodgrass was his last name, and like a million other people, where they were questioning World of Warcraft players about like things that make them happy and stuff about the game, and that it was mainly like the leveling system and being able to work together with other people to complete their tasks. And I personally can agree with the multiplayer thing because my addiction is kind of Final Fantasy, and obviously multiplayer, like you have to have more than one person to play, which pretty much is self-explanatory. So yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
All right, Skylar, a few comments for you. The proposition needs to be more clearly stated. You kind of you're having a little bit of trouble getting started, and I think that as a consequence, you sort of skip over. You generally tell us what the idea is, but there's not a clear statement or an explicit statement of what the proposition is. On the other hand, you had an excellent preview of what the supporting structure was going to be and what those points would be, how you were going to develop it, and you labeled that very clearly. I do think that you kind of presuppose that there's some controversy about people playing video games, that it has a bad reputation, and I think it wouldn't be that hard to find some evidence where people have suggested that it is a negative as opposed to a positive, and that's largely where your dispute is. So I think you need a little bit more time and energy on that. The signposting of the secondary claims in the body of the speech was also very clear. You did a good job on that, and for the most part you explained what you meant by each of the supporting points. I think you've got a little bit of credibility that you get because you are a player, but I think sometimes the credibility is hurt a little bit by some of the presentation things that you're talking about. For instance, you're talking about teamwork and communication skills, and you're having a hard time talking to a large group of people. I thought that was one of the things that this was going to be helping you with. That seemed to be the point that you were making on the third point. So you probably need a little more practice on that, and just think of us as all a bunch of people on the other end. You know, we're all MMORGPFs or whatever the heck they call them, and this time instead of just being avatars, we're real faces. That's all. And I think that would help a little bit. On the evidence, you've only got a hypothetical example at best on the second point. On the first point, you have one piece of, not even a statistic, you've got a study that you're citing. You do cite the experts that are responsible for it. I didn't really get any statistical information on that. I would like to know why it's particularly important to be able to have that quick cognitive snap movement of the eyes and that sort of thing, why that's important or significant, why that's beneficial. It would be helpful, because it just seems like it's a random kind of thing as opposed to something that is essential. Like I said, on the second point, there really wasn't any evidence except for a hypothetical that you used to try and suggest how leveling gives us kind of a sense of accomplishment. In your situation, it's just a hypothetical personal example here. So that seemed a little bit strange. Now, there was part of the quote in the third point that suggests that there might be something that applies to this also. So that might have been a quote that needed to be broken up into two parts. And on the third point, we also have a little bit of a quote here. I would say that the evidence is probably a little underwhelming in proving the points that you've got. The ideas are explained, but the proof on those points needs to be a lot stronger. All right, thank you very much for